All right, guys, welcome back. Today we are going to be finishing how a bill becomes a law. In the last video, we talked about the responsibilities of the House of Representatives. This video, we'll be talking about how the Senate has similar responsibilities, and then how they interact later on. So, very much like the House of Representatives, the Senate has to pick up the bill and do the same thing. They have to have a sponsor report on it, and they have to name it. So very much like the House of Representatives has a name, the Senate has its own name. It could be a nickname, but typically the name will be a letter with a number. In committee, the Senate can do the same thing as the House of Representatives. They will hold a hearing, but they can either keep it, change it, kill it, or pigeonhole it. Remember, pigeonhole means to set off to the side and come back to it later. Again, if you didn't write a side note in the last video, say most next to kill it, right? Most bills die in committee. Okay, that's just how it happens. After committee, then the bill would go to the Senate floor if it was kept or changed, and everyone debates and votes. Now, the difference is there are no rules as far as time allowed to speak on the Senate floor. So senators have this privilege called filibustering, which means they can get up and talk and talk and talk and talk about anything for as long as they want to. And there are rules to filibustering, like the senator must stay standing, the senator must continue talking, the senator can yield the floor to a member of their party, but there's no bathroom breaks, there's no recess. Once the senator stops talking, then that is it. The rest of the Senate can vote for cloture, which is a 2/3 vote. So 67 out of the 100 senators would have to vote to end the filibuster, which rarely happens because it's hard to get 67 senators to agree on literally anything. But the purpose of a filibuster is to block or delay a bill's vote until the opposite party takes the bill off the table. The longest filibuster in history was 25 hours by Strom Thurmond. He had tactics like reading the phone book and telling stories about fishing with his grandson. So a filibuster is just a tactic to delay a bill where a senator has to talk and talk and talk and talk. Here is a picture of the Senate. So, if a bill is not passed by both houses in the exact same wording, then it has to go to a conference committee. So, let's say a bill passes the House and it goes over to the Senate and senators take something out or add something to the bill. Then both houses have members meet in a conference committee and pass or create a new version of the bill. Once they can agree on a version, remember the bill can die in conference committee, but once they have a final form of the bill goes back to both the House and the Senate and is voted on again and must be passed in the exact same wording. So if you can see, there's a lot that goes into making a bill a law, and it can be very complicated, especially if it gets to conference committee. So once the bill passes both houses, then it goes to the president's desk, okay? And the president has three options. The president can sign it, and if the president signs the bill, it becomes a law, no questions asked. The president can veto the bill, which means they can reject it or they can pocket veto. So a pocket veto, essentially, it only works if Congress is about to leave to go in a recess. So all representatives and senators go back to their state at specific times to do work in their state, to meet with their constituents, to gather information or whatever it may be, every year at specific times. If the president knows that one of these times is coming up, they can wait until Congress leaves. Now, what you have to know is that the president only has 10 days to sign or veto the bill. So if the president waits, say Congress is leaving in 8 days, The president would wait until that 9th day and send the bill back with a pocket veto, and then there would be nobody there to overturn it. Okay? So when the president vetoes a bill, that does not necessarily mean that the bill is dead, although it will be very hard to overturn. However, Congress can override a president's veto with a 2/3 vote in each house. So remember, you're talking about 67 senators and something like 300 representatives. That's a lot of congressmen. It's hard to get them all to vote on anything. It's really hard to get laws passed just with a simple majority. So a 2/3 majority is going to be very difficult, but it's possible. So it doesn't happen often, but it is possible. All right, guys, that is all I have for you today. Remember, how a bill becomes a law: it gets introduced, and it goes to committee, and then the House floor. After it goes to the floor, it goes to the other side, and the same thing happens. If there's any changes, it goes to conference committee, then back to both houses for final approval. If it's passed through both houses again, then it is the president's decision to either sign, pocket veto, or veto. And also, the bills can start in either house. It can start the Senate or the House of Representatives, not just one or the other. All right. I hope you all got something out of that. Please let me know if you have any questions, and I'll see you soon.